In 1960s, West Bengal was one of the richest states in India. Today, it earns less than the national average, and yet one single government has been winning elections again and again and again.
Mamata Banerjee, who was the then opposition leader, led a 24 days hunger strike, which ultimately led to the removal of Tata plant, and in 2008 it moved from Bengal to Gujarat.
In 2011, Mamata Banerjee came to power. She promised change, she promised jobs, and she promised development. And people believed her.
And especially the girl child at night time. They should not be allowed to come out in the outside. They have to protect themselves also.
So the real question is West Bengal actually progressing or slowly falling behind? Let's figure this out. Let's go back in time for a moment. In 1960s, West Bengal contributed more than 10% to India's economy. It was among the top 3 states in the country. But today, that number has dropped to around 5.6%. That means Bengal's importance in India's economy has been cut almost in half. Imagine India as a pizza. Bengal's slice has become smaller year by year.
Ma, Marty, and Manush. Right now, we are standing at the abandoned Tata Motors site. It was the year 2006 when the left government of 34 years got around thousands of acres of land so that Tata Motors could establish the nano car plant. But Mamata Banerjee, who was the then opposition leader, led a 24 days hunger strike, which ultimately led to the removal of Tata plant, and in 2008 it moved from Bengal to Gujarat. After that, Mamta obviously got a lot of votes and then she became the chief minister, and ultimately the left government had to. Comes the year 2026. The plant, the same nano plant is in Gujarat, is flourishing. People have jobs over there.
In 2011, Mamata Banerjee came to power. She promised change, she promised jobs, and she promised development. And people believed her. She positioned herself as a leader who would fight for the common man, especially for the poor and the farmers. Over the years, she built a very strong political base. But now, after more than a decade in power, the question is what has actually changed? More than the changes, there were many controversies. Because over the last few years, West Bengal has seen some major ones. First, the teacher recruitment scam. Thousands of young people were preparing for government jobs, but later, allegations came out that jobs were being sold for money. For many students, this was not just corruption, this felt like betrayal. Second, the coal scam and money laundering cases. Several leaders were investigated by central agencies like ED and CBI.
Fair amounts of action coming in from West Bengal, 2 months away from elections, from raids to resistance to protest marches to barging in to charges flying thick and fast, and files also being taken away. Full-blown fury. The Enforcement Directorate steps into Bengal's political minefield 2 months before elections, wading polls to keep this side back. And Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee doesn't stay on the sidelines. She storms straight into the middle of operation, accuses the ED of theft, and turns the probe into a political flashpoint. With allegations of Hawala money, coal scam links, and claims of evidence being removed, the ED versus Mamta showdown is now out on the streets and is now also headed to court tomorrow.
And instead of denying everything quietly, Mamata Banerjee openly challenged these agencies and she said, "This is not investigation, this is political targeting." Now, this created two groups of people. One group believes, yes, corruption is happening. The other group believes this is all politics by the central government. Third, post-election violence in 2021. After the elections, there were reports of violence across the state. This raised serious questions about law and order in the state. And fourth, protests by government employees over dearness allowance. Even government workers were unhappy and took the government to court. So clearly, there have been serious issues. Now let's talk about the economy, because this is where the real story lies. The average income of a person in West Bengal is still lower than the national average. In simple words, an average person in West Bengal earns less than an average Indian. And this is not new. In fact, in 1960s, Bengal was richer than the national average. Today, it is poorer than the national average. That's a massive shift. Take Odisha for example. There was a time when Odisha was far behind Bengal. But today, Odisha has actually overtaken West Bengal in per capita income. That tells you something important, because Bengal is not just going slowly, it is falling behind others. In 2010, West Bengal's total debt was around 1.8 lakh crore rupees. Today, it is close to 7 lakh crore rupees. That's almost 3 to 4 times increase. And here is the shocking part. For every 100 rupees the government earns, it owes nearly 300 rupees as debt. That means a big part of the budget goes into just paying old loans, not building new things. Private companies are not investing heavily in West Bengal. There are very few large companies coming in, and without industries, jobs don't get created. That's why many young people are leaving the state and moving to cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad or Pune. Now let's compare promises versus reality. What did the government promise and what did it actually deliver? And here the government has actually performed well. Schemes like Lakshmi Bandar provide direct cash to women. There are also schemes for students and support for families. So yes, money is reaching people, but now the other side, jobs. This is where the biggest gap exists. There is no major industrial boom, no large-scale job creation. So people are just surviving but not necessarily growing. That's the difference. Welfare helps you live, but job helps you grow. Now comes the most important question. If there are so many problems, why do people still vote for Mamata Banerjee? But the answer is very simple. Because the government is directly present in people's daily lives, from birth to education to adulthood. Let's understand this clearly. When a child is born, there are schemes like health support and financial assistance. When the child grows, if it's a girl child, there is a scheme called Kanyashri, where the government gives financial support to keep girls in school and delay early marriage. Then comes Rupashri, where families receive around 25,000 rupees for the marriage of their daughters. For students, there are scholarships and financial assistance for higher education. And in many cases, students receive money even to continue their studies. Then comes healthcare. Through schemes like Swasthya Sati, families get health insurance coverage, even in private hospitals. Now imagine this: education support, healthcare support and marriage support. And then comes the most powerful scheme, Lakshmi Bandar. Under this scheme, women receive monthly cash support, 500 to 1000 rupees every month. That means a direct, guaranteed income. And this is not just limited to 1 or 2 schemes. Recently, just a month ago, a new scheme was announced for unemployed youth, where 1500 rupees per month was promised. And here is the interesting part. In many cases, this money was given even to people who are already working in private jobs. So instead of targeting only the unemployed, the benefit reached a much wider group. Now, think about the timing. Such schemes are often introduced just before the elections because every extra person receiving money is a potential vote. And after elections, these lists are usually audited and many ineligible people are quietly removed. So the question is not just, are you getting money? The real question is, why are you getting it and when are you getting it? So what is happening here? People may not understand GDP, they may not understand economic growth, but they understand one thing very clearly. Money is coming into my account, and when that happens, it creates a strong emotional and financial connection with the government. Now think about it. If a family is receiving benefits at every stage of life, from childhood to education to adulthood, why would they take the risk of voting to someone else? Because for them, this is not just politics, this is survival. So, what is the truth about West Bengal? It is a state with strong welfare but weak job creation. A state where people are supported but not always empowered. But here is the deeper question: what should be the real role of a government? Is it to keep giving money for everything in life? Or is it to build a system where people don't need that money? Because ideally, a government's responsibility is not to fund your private education. It is to provide you high quality education in government schools. It is not to pay for your treatment in private hospitals. It is to build world class government hospitals. And most importantly, it is not to give you free money every month. It is to create opportunities so that you can earn your own income with dignity through your hard work. Because think about this. What happens if tomorrow all these schemes suddenly stop? What happens if the money stops coming? Will people be ready to survive on their own? Or have they become dependent on the system? That's the real concern. Because when people depend on the government for everything, they stop demanding real development. And at the same time, even if people want change, they don't always have a better option. Because today, for many voters, it feels like choosing the best among the bad, not the ideal choice, but the safer one. So the real question is not just whether Mamata Banerjee is right or wrong. The real question is, will West Bengal get a better alternative? Because in the end, a strong democracy is not about one leader winning again and again. It is about giving people a real choice and a real future.